We'll talk about Arrival Live, but some messages some of you have sent in so far. This one says, congratulations to Clocksack executives. Interim premium must be given to us, otherwise red t-shirt. Amuzu sent that from Achim North. And this one says, you fear to go with aircraft, but you don't fear to go with Banku and Shito. Shame to the foreign minister from Demos, Tuna, Savannah region. Sona 2020, you say we expect the president to talk about the numerous scandalous acts currently happening under his watch, that his usual politicalistical nature must be looked at. Interesting message there. Aliu Bahama says, good evening, gifted to me. The government hasn't done enough towards evacuation of citizens in Wuhan, and that shows how less important we take our citizens. And this one says, hello, Gifty. My daughter is a year and 3 months old. Is she eligible for the nationwide polio vaccination exercise? Dorcas from Sunyani. Dorcas, your daughter certainly is qualified. She is. The Ghana Health Service is looking at children between 1 to 4 years. So your daughter certainly qualifies. I'll bring you more of the messages. But for now, when 22-year-old Crystal Nelson spoke to her mother on the phone 4 weeks ago, she said she did not know that that was going to be their last conversation. The level 300 student had called her mother for a discussion, but she said she was returning from a trip and promised her daughter she'll call back when she arrives in Accra. That did not happen, as she died on the spot in an accident just 5 minutes after that chat. Crystal's mother, 51-year-old Doris Nelson, was buried over the weekend. Maxwell Agbaba was there and brings us the story as part of our Arrive Alive campaign to stop the numerous accidents on our roads.
A woman wailing very close to the remains of the deceased Doris Nelson. She lies in state. It is the last time family, friends and loved ones will see her. It is an atmosphere of grief and sorrow. It was a normal day on January 12, 2020. Doris Nelson was traveling with her husband Nelson back to Accra from Kpando after a visit. Her daughter, a level 300 student of the University of Development Studies, had spoken with her mom while she was aboard a vehicle on which she was traveling. Her mom promised to call her back, but no, it was her last call. It has been hours of church service at Ashama branch of the Global Evangelical Church. Doris Nelson is now making her final journey to the last cemetery. I've met her son, Owusu Confidence. He says his mother is irreplaceable.
It was very devastating. My heart just teared apart. I just don't know what to say. But it was in around 7 p.m. that I phoned my mom, phoned my dad, couldn't get them. So I tried to phone again, tried on different occasions, couldn't get them. So the last one that I tried is then that my father picked it up and told me that he had an accident. See, the vehicle was overspeeding. The vehicle was overspeeding. And meanwhile, there was nothing. The road even there is good. It's a very good road. So all of a sudden, overspeeding, and then the car started somersaulting. They said the car somersaulted 3 times. So my mom fell out of the vehicle. Yes, please. She died? Yes, please. Instant. They say she didn't talk, she didn't say anything.
What kind of person was she to you?
My mom is 50% of my life. 50%. I can't express it more. But she's 50%. I'm bleeding. I'm bleeding that this time around, the death, car crash is becoming unbecoming. Unnecessary car crash at any given time. Please, if you know that you drink, don't drive. It's simple. Why will you do so? Disturbing people's soul. Why?
The daughter of the deceased, Crystal Nelson, has been narrating how she heard the news.
I was in school when my auntie broke the news to me. I couldn't believe it because I spoke to my mom on that Sunday and she told me she was in a vehicle coming home So when she gets home, she will call me. So I couldn't believe it. When she told me, I told her that it's not my mom. Maybe it's my grandmom or someone in my family, not my mom, because I know my mom. Yes, she survives every single thing. She can get sick to the last moment. You think she's dying, but she'll still survive. So telling me my mom is dead, I was so surprised. What kind of accident? Like, how did it go? So later on, Daddy told me that it was the head. So I had no choice than to believe until I came here today. And
So when you spoke to her, how many hours?
Hours?
Then the accident happened.
It was 5 minutes. It was just 5 minutes. And that day was my cousin's birthday. So she rather spoke to my cousin. The only thing she told me was that she's in the car going to Accra. So she'll call me back when she gets home. And that was all. I didn't talk to her. So I gave the phone to my cousin to speak to her because it was on his birthday.
Head pastor of the Global Evangelical Church, Reverend Dela Donko, says Doris Nelson played a pivotal role in the church. He says churches have a role to play in minimizing accidents on Ghana's roads.
Because we preach to everybody, and once they hear us, we all have members wherever we are, and we being church personalities, we need to also take this campaign seriously, because as we are losing the accidents by our campaign, that a lot will cease. For instance, our drivers who drive carelessly, some of them are drunk, some of them, in other words, also overspeed because they just want to get there on time. Some of them lack of maintenance, they don't maintain their cars.